Okay guys, the second strategy is intermittent fasting or IF. Why would someone do IF? Well, there's a few reasons. One of the main things that I like about intermittent fasting is that it allows the individual to keep a diet that they're a lot more familiar with. With the keto diet, you do have to change quite a lot of things. You have to change quite a lot of types of food that you eat, and that for some people can be off-putting. However, on the intermittent fasting diet, it doesn't actually matter quite so much. So one of the positives of the intermittent fasting diet is that it allows you to keep a more familiar diet. The second thing that I like about intermittent fasting is that, as it says in the title, it forces the individual to fast. That basically means that for a window of time, you're going to be able to consume food, and for the rest of the 24-hour period, you're not going to be able to consume anything whatsoever. Obviously, we do expect you to hydrate with water, things like black tea, black coffee, and different types of tea as well. But mainly, we want you to only consume food within an agreed window of time. So let's just say that an individual was going to consume from 12 p.m. all the way through to 8 p.m. That basically gives them 8 hours to eat either 2 to 3 meals, depending on how many calories and how much macronutrients that they need. For the rest of the time, however, when they're not eating, they're going to be in a state of fasting. And that basically means that it has a knock-on effect for them because it encourages the control of insulin. And the reason that insulin is being controlled is because it's not being used because you're not eating food. So when the individual isn't eating any food, when they're fasting, the hormone insulin isn't spiked as much. And it also allows the body to be able to go through processes such as digestion. Now, one of the downfalls with intermittent fasting is that there isn't a lot of literature or there isn't a lot of encouragement behind consuming a sort of weight loss plan. And what do I mean by that? Well, intermittent fasting encourages you to fast and it encourages you to eat within a window of time, but it doesn't encourage you to eat better types of food. So, as I said before, it allows you to keep a more familiar diet. Whereas you get the ketogenic diet, the keto diet, because it forces you to drop your carbohydrate so low, down to only 50 grams of carbs per day, you're going to start to find that on the keto diet, you're going to have to turn to more unprocessed foods and more natural foods, such as vegetables and maybe some fruits. However, with the intermittent fasting diet, it doesn't necessarily encourage you to eat any better foods. What it does instead is it just kind of allows you to keep a more familiar diet within a window of time. So will that individual lose weight? Yes, the individual will lose weight at first because their time has been restricted and their insulin has been restricted and their insulin is a lot more controlled. Therefore, fat is less likely to be stored. The insulin is going to be better controlled, and therefore some body weight, especially body fat, will be lowered over a period of time. However, the type of food that the individual eats doesn't necessarily change here. And therefore, with the intermittent fasting diet, I do feel that quite often it has to be supported by a weight loss plan, or at least choosing a better foods.
It's the Yo Party Week.